Hi, this is Roger Grimes, the InfoWorld Security Advisor, following up my popular column and video on how to detect malware infection in 9 easy steps. I wrote that column and talked about the neat Microsoft sysinternals program, Process Explorer, and how you could use it to clean or detect malware in your computer. I followed that up with a video InfoWorld made called a free, almost foolproof way to check for your malware. Very popular, and then by popular demand I've been asked to follow that up with, okay, we can detect malware, well, how do we remove it after we detect it? And there's a couple of steps. First of all, you've got to think that anytime you find malware, whether it's some type of virus or Trojan or pestware or something like that, that really the only safe thing that you can do is to either reformat, reset, or recover your PC. I'm going to talk about everything past that, but just know that if you don't reset everything, you really can't be sure that you got rid of the malware or the pestware. So that's always your best bet. These days, used to be you had to reformat your computer. These days, you can reset it or recover it in some way. A lot of vendors have the utility. It's also built into Windows. You can literally go to the Ask Me Anything bar and say, tell me how to reset my PC, and it will bring up an option allowing you to reset the PC and ask you whether or not you want to lose everything, remove everything, or keep just your applications and files. Again, the safest thing to do is remove everything or to reset it to brand new. But a lot of people don't want to do that, or don't have the time to do that, or don't mind having the risk. So what do you do after that? Well, certainly one of the best things you can do is use your antivirus software to remove it. Now, these days, a lot of antivirus programs are having a hard time detecting every single virus out there or malware program out there. There's literally tens of millions of individual malicious programs being made every month. Very difficult for them to be 100% accurate. But if you think you found some malware, one of the best things you can do is try to get an antivirus program to remove it. If your antivirus program doesn't detect it, you can always submit the sample of that program to your antivirus vendor. Every antivirus vendor has this particular feature. Usually it's built within the antivirus scanner program itself, or you can submit a sample of that malware program up on the internet. Of course, one of my favorites is always just to use Process Explorer, because Process Explorer, as I covered in my last program video, it will run and submit that sample, your malware sample, against up to 57 antivirus engines. So if you remember in the last video, talked about if you use sysinternals Process Explorer and you tell it to submit, you have to go to options, virustotal.com, and tell it to check virustotal.com and submit your running executables to that website that's owned by Google. And then it will tell you how many antivirus programs said that something was malicious or pestware out of that it was submitted to. In this case, like this example says, out of the 58 antivirus engines we submitted it to, 0 found it to be malicious. Usually if you're using Process Explorer, you go look for the red things. If you see 1 out of something or anything in red, that's something to be suspicious of. A lot of times if you see 1 out of something, it could be a false positive. Sometimes it's pestware or something malicious. But just know if you see 1 out of something, you can't always be sure that it's malicious. If you see anything above 1 out of something, like 2 out of something, 4 out of something, it could be pestware or malware. And one of the things you can do if some program if VirusTotal is telling you that it's detected, different antivirus engines have detected this thing as being pestware or malware, you can click right on this link and it will open up a browser that will take you to and tell you what antivirus engines are detecting it as malicious or pestware. And you can go to those websites then and download these legitimate antivirus programs, and they will clean the program for you. So that's always one of the best things you can do. Well, let's assume that you can't easily find an antivirus, so you don't want to install a new antivirus to detect something. I'm a big fan of using sysinternals auto runs. You can download auto runs from Microsoft. You can go to sysinternals.com, look for the auto runs program, download and install that. And again, I usually do the same thing with Process Explorer. I go to the Microsoft Sysinternals website and I download Process Explorer. Those are two indispensable utilities I always use as a professional when looking for malware. And if you can run auto runs will usually tell you what programs are auto-loading. Malware almost always auto-loads itself in some sort of way, either in the registry or task scheduler or something like that. So if you've identified something that you think may be malware, and again, I'm going back to Process Explorer here, but it could be your antivirus telling you. Suppose I want to get rid of driver update or something like that. Again, I can go here using auto runs and start to look for that program. Here I see that there is driver update, 2 drivers updates, and I can in task scheduler, and I can unselect those. This will turn that off. I also usually, when I'm looking at these programs, I usually will right click them and take note, go look at properties of those files and find out where they're located, how they're running. In this case, it tells me if the location is under Program Files x86 driver update. So if I have to manually remove it, I can go remove it at that location. I usually write it down. I can also remove it in this case if it's in Task Scheduler. And you can look at all the different programs, all the different areas that Microsoft has identified as allowing programs to automatically start looking for driver update. And if I look under the Everything tab, it's going to show me all the different places that legitimate programs and or malware or pestware could hide to run again. Or if you can go under these individual tabs, and they kind of take it into a smaller place where you can look and explore the different options one set at a time. And again, there's driver update, and by unselecting them, when I restart the computer, it will not automatically restart, at least using those options. You do have to be pretty thorough here and make sure you go through the list of everything and remove things that you think are malicious or pestware. If a lot of times if it has a publisher, usually it's a good thing. You're not always sure about it, but like here's something called App Locker, and I'm not really sure whether this is legitimate or not. If you wanted to, you could tell it to search online for that option, and that would start your browser, and then you could read more about it. But certainly if you see programs that have been verified from Intel and HP and lots of these other places that you're familiar with, you can trust them. So particularly, I'm just looking at things that don't have a publisher. A lot of times you can simply go uninstall the program. It's very, very common these days that malware can simply, or pestware, probably pestware more often, can just be uninstalled just like any other program. I've been doing malware removal and pestware removal for almost 30 years, and I can tell you that these steps will remove probably 99% of all malware and potentially unwanted programs. Again, the best, safest thing you can do is reformat, reset, or recover your PC. After that, the next best thing you can do is use an antivirus program to remove it. If your antivirus program doesn't recognize it, you can submit a sample to it. Then if that doesn't work, I like to use Sysinternals or Microsoft Sysinternals auto runs or Sysinternals Process Explorer to make those programs not automatically run, and also to kill the process. You can try uninstalling the program as well. That's a nice little added feature. Then reboot your computer and then rescan it again using antivirus or Process Explorer. And if it's still there, try again. Sometimes it'll take me 2 or 3 shots overall to get rid of everything. And then if that doesn't work, if you've tried a couple of times and rebooted a couple of times and that program is still seeming to live and fighting you, maybe it's best to use an expert. Well, thank you for your time, and I wish you good luck. And Phil, if you have any questions, you can send them to me at Roger_Grimes@infoworld.com.